The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Philadelphia. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, one of the hottest topics that I've ever seen, I've been doing this show for 16 years, is functional medicine. Everybody wants to know about functional medicine, and we found one of the top experts in the Philadelphia area with Philly Wellness Center. We have got, for the next 25 minutes, a great show. You want to definitely sit back and take notes. We have got the creme de la creme in Katie Harris. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Hey, is it snowing there?
It's been snowing, yeah. Today's nice and sunny, so hopefully it'll melt, but
Yes. Well, I'm not going to tell you about the weather here in Florida and make you feel bad, but we know all of our East Coast shows have been really had some horrible, horrible weather. But first of all, let's tell people about your center.
yeah, so Philly Wellness Center, we do a functional med, like you said, which, translates into pain management. We work with women in menopause and men in andropause. So we do hormone therapy, we do weight loss. We work with patients post-cancer treatments. We really look at things from a root cause perspective. Like, we're not treating the cancer per se, but we're treating the environment in which allowed the cancer to take hold in the first place, which is something you want to address afterwards. And, same with all the conditions that we treat. We're really looking at why did the body deviate from its normal path of health, and how do we get it back to its normal path of health? So that's what we look at. So no matter what disease or condition you have, there's a functional root cause to it, and that's what we go searching for.
Katie, we're getting a lot of people wanting to know about nutrition. What percentage of your business pays attention to nutrition?
I pay attention to nutrition in kind of a roundabout way, because I focus a lot on the cell and what does the cell need in the cell membrane. And the cell membrane is literally made up of saturated fats and DHA, basically omega-3s. The interesting thing, it's taken me down kind of this rabbit hole, because what a lot of us have is an excess of omega-6. And everybody's like, well, wait, I thought omega-6 was good for you. And it is. It's an essential fatty acid, and you have to have omega-6, but you need very, very little in your diet, right? It's essential to have, but you only need technically half a walnut a day would cover your omega-6 dietary consumption. But the problem is that there's so much omega-6 in everything that we're eating. From basically anything that's shelf stable has seed oils, and seed oils have very large amounts of omega-6. So if you need 1 gram a day, a tablespoon of seed oil has 15 grams. And when, you get over 6 or 8 grams, it starts getting incorporated into the cell membrane. And that's where we come in. And it's like, why are the cell membranes leaky? Why are toxins getting in and nutrients getting out? And a lot of times it's because you have this large composition of omega-6 that's been kind of stuffed into the cell membranes, and it's displacing omega-3, and it's changing the dynamic of that cell membrane. And that's important because the cell membrane has these receptors on it that allow insulin to come in. Thyroid needs a receptor. A lot of the molecules in your body, in order to get inside the cell, they have to land on the cell membrane and talk to it. Basically, they have a communication system. And if the cell membrane is inflamed, or if it's leaky, or if it's distorted because it's misshapen because it has too much omega-6 in it, then the communication line breaks down. And, that ends up being what we've seen as the root cause. So your omega-6 intake is 100% dietary. So when we see people with large amounts of omega-6 in their diet, we know that's coming from something they've eaten. So anything that's shelf stable, doesn't go bad or moldy, like your Cheez-Its, right? Those things, they're full of omega-6. Anything that's fat-free is full of omega-6. And it becomes extremely problematic, not because omega-6 itself is harmful, but the abundance of omega-6 that we're eating is just overwhelming and unprecedented, basically in the history of humans, because humans didn't have access to the amount of omega-6 that we do currently.
Well, Katie, I really wanted to talk to you today about testosterone and hormones, because we get so many letters about that. And I am seeing more and more commercials, mostly national commercials, about increasing your testosterone. And, I do not believe most of these national commercials. And apparently by the emails we're getting, our audience doesn't either. Can you talk on what is testosterone, its role, say, for men's overall health?
Yeah, I mean, testosterone's it's really, really powerful for both men and women, just in different ratios, right? So obviously men need much more testosterone than women do, but it's very protective of the cardiovascular system. It helps to clean up the cardiovascular system, keeps the vessels real pliable, so that when your pressure goes up, your body can compensate. Whereas if those arteries are really stiff, then your heart has to pump higher, your blood pressure goes up, that kind of stuff. And testosterone helps a lot with that. It also helps connect blood vessels. It increases muscle mass. It's really powerful. I actually just was talking to a stroke patient earlier today, and he's in his 60s, and his testosterone is quite low. And when you investigate these things, you see that it's not just a lifestyle or cosmetic thing. I want to beef up and have increase my libido. Those are certainly side effects of testosterone, and that's something that comes with it. But the health benefits, in particular for this stroke patient, to improve muscle mass, to improve his energy levels, to improve blood vessel formation, to improve cardiovascular health, is very powerful. So that's why we're going to start testosterone on him.
What makes the levels drop over time?
Well, some of it is environmental. So there's a lot of toxins out there. Testosterone needs to get through that cell membrane as well. And again, if it's inflamed, it might not be able to get through, right? When the inside the cell too, there can be chaos going on. If if you have too much sugar coming in, too much of anything coming in, it causes chaos inside that cell. And when there's chaos, testosterone gets neutralized, right? It basically can't deliver its message, because it's like the town's burning down and everybody's running and screaming, and you're trying to, present a letter to somebody. Nobody's interested. And it's the same kind of concept with hormones coming into a cell that's chaotic, or it's busy trying to stop all kinds of bad things from happening, right? So the cell has to prioritize what's going on and how it functions. And that's one of the reasons. Plus, a lot of the toxins that are out there are decreasing testosterone levels as well.
So I'm sure someone's listening to the show now going, how do I know if I have low testosterone?
Well, most guys feel it, so they'll be low energy, or they've been going to the gym and they aren't able to build muscle, or they're losing muscle, they're losing hair, they're getting fatter, these types of things. It's an aging process as well. But typically, and even depression, new onset depression, or just it's not kind of it's different than a chemical depression, in that you're kind of apathetic and you don't care, or you're sitting on the couch and you literally can't get off the couch. Those are signs that it could be low testosterone. Of course, it could be a lot of things, but low testosterone is a big player in that.
Do you actually do lab work to determine if they have low testosterone?
Yes, so we'll check a free and total testosterone and see what that range is. Now, the traditional range of testosterone is like 250 to 750 or something like that. And that range comes from a population of men between the ages of 2 and 102, right? And obviously, a 2-year-old and a 102-year-old are going to have much lower testosterone levels than a 30-year-old. But what they do is take all of that and average it, and that's how they get that range. So there's the normal range, which is the range in which you won't die, right? And then there's an optimized range, which is what we look at. So our range, we want to see our men, above 850, which is above the normal range. But that would be your optimized range of physiological testosterone. And that's what you would expect a 20 or 30-year-old male to have, is the testosterone in that range.
We just got our first text from Mark in Philadelphia. I just found your show today. I hope this is not a stupid question. I have never had a bit of alcohol in my life. I have never smoked a cigarette, and I've never done drugs. I am 78 years old, and I feel like I'm still in my 50s. Does not doing the drugs, alcohol, have anything to do with where I'm at now in life?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's amazing that he feels so good, especially at 78. But it's a testament to, if you maintain your house, your personal house, right? There's, the question that's being posed today is, does it have to deteriorate, right? Does aging have to, you're always going to age, but does your health have to decline with aging, right? Can you maintain a certain level of vitality where you're 120 and you're still able to do all the things that you could do when you were 50? And that's really where longevity medicine is headed at this point, is maintaining vitality, because that's so much more important than a numeric number. Like, nobody wants to live to 100 and they're demented in a bed, being taken care of by everybody. They want to be able to live their life and do the things that they want to do. And that really comes down to respecting the body and giving it what it needs. It needs exercise, it needs nutrition. All those things are extremely important.
So once you determine someone has low testosterone, the next step is replacement therapy?
Yeah, and for men, they have several options. So there's creams, which are my least favorite. You have to put those on daily. It's kind of messy. You got to remember to do it.
Is it potent?
It's potent. It doesn't get the levels up quite as nicely as some of the other ways, but and it depends on the thickness of the skin, because it's got to absorb in. And then you can sweat it out as well. And if you are wiping it on a towel, you have to make sure your wife isn't using it, or your dog doesn't start chewing on it, because then they get a large dose of testosterone too. Then there's pills. So there's oral testosterone pills, which are really nice, but you have to take them twice a day, and they're a little bit more expensive than other methods of doing it. There's injectables, so you can do an injection in your thigh twice a week. But the problem I have with that is that you get like kind of this bolus and then a drop, and then you do it a couple days later and you get a hit of it and then a drop. So it's kind of like this up and down instead of kind of a nice steady plateau. And then there's pellets, which are my favorite, and we put those under the skin, and they last for about 6 months. So you only have to do it once every 6 months, and you can forget about it.
Yeah, I believe I shared with you on one of our shows. A friend of mine here in Florida does the pellet, and he said, first of all, he said he felt the difference that day.
Yeah.
He said people would say your speech is clearer, better, and you sound different. And he also said it just changed his whole life. So I guess he agrees with you with the pellets also.
Yeah, no, it is life altering. It's one of the few things that I've done that I can say categorically and without exaggeration was life changing. Like it was amazing.
And that's for men and women?
Yes. So absolutely for women. Testosterone's got like 3,000 functions in the body for women, and estrogen only has like 300. So it's a magnitude of order of difference of how much testosterone does for women.
This is from Miles, also in Philadelphia. I'm really enjoying your show. You've got a good expert on. How does she feel about testosterone? I've read some articles that it could lead to prostate cancer. Is there any evidence of that?
I mean, the studies that they've done always show a correlation of low testosterone with prostate cancer. Men with high levels of testosterone, the studies that they've done, they've never been able to show an association with high testosterone and prostate cancer. But, the thing is that cancer itself is extremely smart, right? And again, this goes back to the terrain. So the terrain has to be permissible for cancer to take hold. And we always think of cancer as something that kind of attacks us or comes out of nowhere. But basically, cancer comes when the body deviates from health. And, it's the mitochondria, which are the energy cells inside your cell, can't make the energy. And it's almost like you have a coup inside the cells. So the cells are like, oh, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So we're going to do it for you. And so we get this, it's called extra mitochondrial energy production. And the cells start making its own energy, but they do it to an extent that at the cost of resources, right? So now you build a community of these types of cells, and they become these aberrant cells, these cancer cells, and then they start using whatever signals they can. So if it will create the cancer to grab onto certain signals to help it grow and grow and grow and grow. So and without testosterone on board, it's hard to regulate that process, right? Because your immune system is what's supposed to be regulating that. It's supposed to go around and find abnormal cells or cells that aren't behaving properly and get rid of them. And that's a function of the immune system. But when you have low testosterone, you have all these other problems that exist. So the immune system is spread thin too, and it's out trying to put out other fires and can't regulate certain areas very well. So cancer is pretty smart that way, and it will leverage resources that you have to its benefit. The long-winded story here, but testosterone, high testosterone has not been associated at all with cancer.
This is Craig. Oh, we're getting all men today. He wants to know, are there any side effects of the replacement testosterone?
We do. So the testosterone therapy, sometimes it pulls water into muscle when you first take it. Once you get your levels maintained, that water comes out eventually. Maybe the first couple of weeks you'll get water retention. You can have an outbreak of acne. Again, it's like the body, especially if your testosterone is really low, it's almost like going through puberty again. So, think about all the things that happened during puberty. You have that effect transiently. maybe the first couple of weeks after administration, and then it normalizes.
He also had a follow-up, Katie. He wanted to know, do you have extended hours for people who work during the day?
Well, we do online calls, and I do weekends, and yeah, we can make exceptions for if you call the office to make an appointment and you can't do during the day, we can accommodate evening hours.
Did you say you are open on the weekends?
Yes, we are open on the weekends.
Okay, and can you give us your hours?
So we're Monday through Friday, 10 to 5, and then Saturday as well, 10 to 5. And occasionally I come in on Sundays.
Here's Natalie. She wants to know, you really seem like you know what you're talking about. I have a lot of respect for that. Is there one good supplement that you feel should be in everybody's daily diet?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lipid replacement therapy called Prodrome. So it's prodrome.com, and they have a supplement called Prodrome Neuro, and that Prodrome Neuro it's plasmalogens plus DHA, which is what the membranes need desperately to stay stable. So yeah, if everybody was on Prodrome Neuro, they'd be all better off.
Katie, I got to tell you, so we've been doing in many of our markets now, functional medicine. And it seems like people know their body. They go to their doctor, they describe what they're going through. Doctor does all kind of tests just to tell them that there's nothing wrong with them. Maybe it's all in their head. I'm sure you hear this. And then they come to a specialist like yourself, and you get to the root cause. How do doctors miss that?
In conventional medicine, they're trained to look for things that they can see, such as tumors, inflammation, that kind of stuff. And if they don't see anything, and IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, is a perfect example. Like, there's no inflammation, there's no tumor, there's no polyps, there's nothing, right? But the person's miserable. If they don't see anything that they can treat, then what they do is move to suppress symptoms. But suppressing symptoms doesn't actually change anything, other than it causes more side effects, different side effects, and maybe or it'll dull pain sensation. But my goal isn't to suppress the symptoms; it's to dive deeper and understand why those symptoms are occurring in the first place. And a lot of times, there are things that you can't see, or you need more specialized testing. So we do a specialized test on cell membranes, on mitochondria, to look and dive into that. But that's not part of the algorithm or protocol for conventional medicine. So, if they don't see anything, they'll just give you medication to suppress, the complaint, basically.
I think what you do is so amazing. I think you are God sent. Tell people how they can reach you.
So we're Philly Wellness Center. You can go to our website, phillywellnesscenter.com, or email us at info@phillywellnesscenter.com, or call us at the number below, 215-709-9710.
Katie will be back again with us next month on the Ask the Expert Show. Katie, thank you so much. You are a world of knowledge. We love having you on. We'll see you next month.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Katie. It's Katie Harris, the Wellness Center, Philly Wellness Center. And that's it for us today. We'll be back again with you next month with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert Show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.